Hello, OutLateButGreat. My name is Juliana. I set the topic for this week, and so Michelle asked if I would like to do a video for today. First, I was gonna say no way, but then I realized that now I can actually do videos openly on the internet. Before I had to distort my image because I wasn't out to my mom, and she has a habit of doing searches for me online. So it wouldn't have been good for her to find something like this. But so I came out to my mom a couple weeks ago, and that is actually why I sent in the topic. Um, the first part of the topic has to do with what it's like to come out a bit later in life when you're not living at home, when you're not subject necessarily to the rules of your parents. And I ask this because, I'm 21. I'm part of, I guess, the younger generation, and there's a lot of pressure among us to come out early. There are people coming out when they're 14, 15, and it can be really tough sometimes when you live in a family that's not going to be accepting. Um, so I, as I said, I came out to my mom very recently, so that was about 6 years after I figured out that I was gay. But I need to wait on my dad, and I don't know if I'll ever tell him. Maybe I will, probably, but it's gonna be a while because he's made it pretty clear that it's not okay for him. And so I actually have to worry about financial repercussions. I'm in college right now and I'm just about to graduate. And, I don't have a job. I don't have what I would need to stay on my feet if he should decide to take away his support. And he's made it pretty clear that if I don't follow his wishes in some things, especially religious things, he will take away that support. So so part of why I wanted to hear what everyone on Outlate But Great had to say about coming out later in life and maybe about some of the benefits of it, like, being able to go back to your own house, being able to get away from it. Um, I guess that was kind of to motivate myself to hang on because there's so much pressure for people my age to come out, and so many people um, assume that if you're out to them, you're out to everyone, and you're not. Um, so the second part of my topic, though, was about what relationships and how they change over time, or maybe how they don't change, because I know that my dad's not going to react well when and if I do tell him. And I guess I just wanted to know, be prepared. Do I need to be, am I going to be in this for the rest of my life? Is there a possibility that he's going to change? And then also, like with my mom, that I just came out to her, and it went pretty well. Like, she seemed really supportive, but I could definitely hear, a lot of sadness in her tone. She was very, I think it kind of dashed some of her hopes. And, it wasn't pleasant having to do that. And I'm wondering, like after she gets past the initial shock, because I think 2 weeks she's still in shock. It's a big deal. And so I'm kind of wondering if other people had the experience of their families' ideas and perceptions changing over time, or if generally they seemed to stay the same. And it was interesting to hear, for example, from Jason and Steffi about how their families sort of would flip-flop, right? And I kind of liked the perspective that Steffi seemed to take, that they may flip-flop, but you can sort of choose to hold on to the positive flips, and um, just kind of work through the negative flops. Um, so I'm hoping that if my mom does, flip-flop, I bet she will, um, that at least I can know that that when she goes into a mood where she's feeling like she really wants to change me, or she really wishes I'd turned out differently, that hold on to the idea that she'll come back to accepting me again. And Sydney made some really interesting points, like when she talked about how as you get older, you take so much shit from everything else. I like the way she put that. You take so much shit and everything else that people might give you a little slack on being gay or transgendered. And I'm really hoping that is the way it goes. And I realize she said, like, it doesn't necessarily mean they accept you. And yeah, I know, I agree with that. But at least maybe you won't have to deal with things quite so overtly, um, as you might have to deal with them in your younger years. Now, I'm lucky because the trend these days is to seem accepting, even if you're not. But I have had quite a bit of trouble in that, um, all of my closest friends currently have had to go through very long periods of struggling with me. It's been kind of surprising because I know that everyone says that in our generation it's so much easier, that everybody's accepting and nobody dares to confront you about things. And that may be in some ways true, but at the same time you can still hear and feel the undercurrents of non-acceptance. They're still very palpable in some ways. And but what I'm hoping is that as younger generations keep coming in and hopefully becoming more and more accepting, that the older generations, like my parents' generation, will adapt as well. And maybe over time, things will improve between my family and I, and maybe I can come out to my dad, and we can be a whole family, because not being able to come out to him really makes me feel separated from him, and I love him so much. He's my role model in basically everything else. But so you guys have given me some bit of hope in looking towards, it really is better to come out when you have stability behind you. And that it's okay. It's okay to wait. If you need to wait, wait. Because that's something that I've been struggling with for a long time. I've had to wait a lot longer than most of my peers. And and it's been rather difficult, which is part of why I really like watching your channel, and how you guys came out later and you're fine. You're great. Just like you say. And so I can be patient and wait until I'm ready. That's basically what I did with my mom. And finally, I did come out to her, and it was just basically this little voice inside said, "It's time. It's time. Do it." So I did. So thank you for all your inspiration and your advice, and thank you for sharing all of your experiences so sincerely.